What's up, Pose? Leon here, joined again by the Dawn over the phone.
Wow, hey, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course. And we got you on a special episode today. This is the first one you're joining me on. We haven't done one in a while, but
Yeah.
it's for a retro rewind.
Oh,
Um,
perfect.
yeah. And there's been so many movies recently. I think we talked about this a lot. Just so many re-releases in theaters of old movies right now.
Oh, yeah.
And
And what about
this
the reboots? A lot of them are like
or
doing
yeah, or
reboots.
reboots like Running
You
Man
know,
and all that shit
yeah,
too. Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
But you know, for them to re-release these in theaters, it really costs nothing. And so we've seen so many of them this year, especially like the theater landscape is just changing a lot where like anime is doing really well in theaters and so are just like re-releases and everything.
Yeah.
And some of these movies are just bombing now that they put all this money, they dump all this money into, like Running Man. So
Yeah.
the newest one to release this year, right at the tail end, is Kill Bill: The Whole Bloody Affair, which has never been released before. um or it kind of has, but it's basically been this long talked about cut of the movie that Quentin Tarantino basically, he has this cut, and he showed it at like a film festival one time, I think, too. And so people had seen it because he always intended for this to be one movie, but the studios were kind of the ones that were like, hell no, you're not releasing like a 4.5 hour movie. Are you crazy? Um, so we got volume one and volume two instead.
Yeah.
Um,
Now
but
we got them combined. Now we got them combined together
yes,
for
now we got the
this.
whole bloody affair, and it's
Yeah,
been
you got it.
it's been much talked about, and it's kind of been released before, but it's been like this very exclusive thing where, like I said, it was at a film festival, and then I think besides that, I think he's only shown it at his theater that he owns in LA, and basically he did this like crazy thing where like you had to go to all these certain screenings and showings of movies, and then when you went to them they would stamp like your card or something, and if you had like all 10 stamps you could basically then go see the whole bloody affair or whatever at his theater.
Wow.
So
Put them through the hoops to get that, huh?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it
So
was worth it. That movie was great. It was worth it.
yeah, and you're a huge Quentin Tarantino fan like I am,
Oh yeah, definitely. Love him. Love him. He's
and
great.
this is probably one of your favorite Quentin Tarantino movies, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's definitely is. I remember when it originally came out. It was
Mm.
a big hit for Tarantino and for Carradine. It kind of brought his career back a little bit. But yeah, I like it, and one of the reasons I'm sure we're going to get into it in a little bit. But all the throwbacks to the old kung fu movies and Carradine's old kung fu
Yup.
show.
Yup. Which was just called Kung Fu, right?
Yeah, it was kung fu, and then in the '90s they did another one called Kung Fu: The Legend Continues with Carradine, and he has a son that he didn't know about and stuff like that.
Oh,
So
okay.
he's played Kwai Chang Caine a couple of times. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah,
So this was kind of different though because this character was like a villain.
right. Yeah, he's always the original Kung Fu. He was a good guy that was on the
Mm-hmm.
run. And because he left the temple because he ended up accidentally killing somebody, so he was on the move the whole time. He'd go city to city, and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah, that's how it went. And then they had the old throwback of where, remember when he was playing the flute in the
Yeah, yeah,
movie?
yeah. He did that in that too, right?
Yeah, he did that all the time in the show. Yeah, yeah.
Yup. Yeah,
It's
and
a
he
little
does that a
throwback.
couple times in the movie too.
Yeah, yeah, he does in the second one, which would have been Bill Kill Two
Yup.
or
Kill Bill
Kill
Volume
Bill,
2.
no, Kill Bill Two. Yeah.
Yup.
So
But yeah, so basically, this is a 20-year-old movie. And for these retro rewinds, we kind of just are going to openly talk about spoilers because this is a new cut of the film, but like otherwise this is a 20-year-old film, and that's why they're releasing it this year. It's the 20th anniversary, I think, of Volume 2.
Mm.
So, um if you don't want to hear spoilers, then go see the movie and then watch this. But if
Yeah.
you're down for spoilers, there's going to be a lot of talk of that, and
Yeah.
also the new additions and alternate takes and stuff like that he added to this.
Yeah. So if you don't want it spoiled, leave now.
Yep,
If you've seen it, we're gonna get into it.
exactly. But basically, for people who maybe just don't care but are just and haven't seen this film but don't care about spoilers, just to kind of fill you in on what this movie is kind of about, um is it's basically about this woman called the Bride, who you know she's kind of in mystery because you don't know what her real name is. People just call her the Bride. And basically the movie starts out with her getting shot in the head, and she goes into a coma. And basically when she wakes up from the coma, she wants to get revenge on the man that shot her in the head, Bill, and basically the people that helped him do it too. So she has a list, and she's basically, just like Santa Claus, she's, crossing those names off the list and everything. So it's a very interesting movie because it's a lot of things combined. You got these kung flu things, these not flu, Jesus, kung fu things. Um, it's also just got a lot of R-rated action though and stuff like that mixed in there too. There's
Mm.
comedy, there's dramatic moments, there's comedic moments. It's a crime movie. It's like just also kind of an epic movie. Like it's like
Yep.
just it's kind of an epic. Like that's also a term that people don't use a lot for movies, but that's kind of its own genre too, especially with it being 4.5 hours now.
Mm.
So I think the brilliant thing about this movie is that like all of those things just work so well. Like I don't think there's a single one of those genres that like Tarantino fails with. Like where it's like,
Yeah, he
I
blends them
didn't
in.
like that. I didn't
He
like
blends
that
them together
genre
really
in the
well.
movie or something. Like I don't feel that with him.
No, I didn't. I didn't either. And he blends them together very, very well. Goes to show you his expertise as being a director and how he can cross all those genres and not make any of them look horrible at all.
Mm-hmm. And this is actually one of his earlier films too, because this was only his fourth film that he had done. If you
Correct.
don't include like From Dusk Till Dawn and True Romance, because he only wrote those. So
Hmm.
I think it also shows how talented he is. That like I think a lot of people, um, with their earliest work, maybe it's not bad, but like they kind of start to get like even better footing because they're getting a handle on it.
Mm.
And I think with him, like he was already at like the peak of his career almost. I mean,
In Pulp Fiction.
I think he just got me and you I think he actually got better from here, but I think
Oh
most
yeah, he did.
people kind of think he peaked with like these sort of earlier films, like middle films, it seems like.
Yeah, well, I think it's those are the same people that basically categorize him into the it's his stuff is just too violent. It's
Mm.
excessive violence and it's not needed and all that. It's the same people that kind of complain about those things, and I don't think those things at all. I think he did get better as he went along,
Mm.
a bit, but it depends. Some people don't think his later work, like Django and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where they thought those were weak.
Mm.
I don't think they're weak at all. I think that they're great. And then The Hateful Eight, a lot of people were hating on.
Yeah, a lot of
And
people say that's like their least favorite Tarantino film, besides maybe like
yeah, I
Death
loved it.
Proof. But like, I love
Yeah, I love it.
Hateful Eight.
Yeah, it's good. I could watch that over and over and never get bored with it.
Mm. And from
There's
part
always
of what
something
I've
on the
also
plate.
heard about that is that like I think his editor, like Sally Menke or something. I hope I'm pronouncing her last name right. But she died, I guess. So like everything I think since after Inglorious has been someone else. So that's why a lot of
Oh,
people
okay.
think like Django, Hateful Eight, uh, and
Once
Once
upon a
Upon a
time.
Time are kind of his weaker films.
Yeah, I love all three of those. So
But I think there is like a different pacing to it. Like those movies are kind of slower paced. And that
yes, they
is one of the
definitely
things
are.
I would say about this is that like the pace the pacing is probably like one of the absolute best out of any of his films.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Especially
There's never a dull
considering this
moment.
is a 4.5 hour cut and like you don't
Mhm.
I did not feel 4.5 hours.
No, it didn't. It went by quick, and that pacing, like you said, really is important because
Mm-hmm.
even when they're giving you some of the backstory a little bit, like in what would be Kill Bill 2, before this,
Mm-hmm.
and basically you find out some of the backstory, but it's kind of interesting, and because the story along is so good
Yo.
and so well constructed that you feel like it's just kind of pulling you along and not sitting there and being uh, bored,
Having
and
filler
so
moments and everything, like
yeah,
everything
yeah,
moves the plot along.
yeah, definitely,
Or it's just like really badass. But like even if I think it's usually just moving the plot along like throughout all of it and like
oh yeah,
these really awesome different ways that like we said like cross genres and everything.
yeah,
Um one thing I also want to say because we're probably gonna miss certain things just talking about it since there's so much to talk about this. It being four
mm-hmm.
and a half hours is like I don't think Uma Thurman, who's also our guest today. Sorry I didn't. Uma, I'm so sorry I didn't introduce you. I'm sorry. She's sitting on the couch next to me today. Um, had an amazing performance in this movie. Like she's so like I think it's one of the best performances in any of his movies.
Wow,
And it doesn't get enough credit because I know like Christoph Waltz and like other people like always get so much credit, but like she's fucking amazing in this, and like
yeah,
especially the scene with her waking up from her coma and everything.
oh yeah,
Like especially since we've seen this movie so many times, like what the actual deal is that like her kid is actually alive and that like
right,
you know even though she's like crying over her child like
mm-hmm.
thinking it's dead. It's just so sad though. It's just like one of those things that it does get to me a little bit even after watching it all these times where I'm just like, man, that's how fucking good her acting is in this scene that like I actually know the outcome that like everything is kind of fine, but like it's so raw of a performance that
Yeah.
it's just like fuck like
Well,
something
I
to
think that
this just speaks to like it just speaks on other levels emotionally even though you know the outcome.
Well, I think there's a couple of scenes in there where it's probably the two most troubling scenes
Mm.
in that movie. One, the being buried alive, and the other one in the being in the coma unit,
Mm.
where and so. But she does such a good job of
Yeah, those are
making you uncomfortable
two
and making
scenes
you
in
have
particular
fear
she has
for her.
such good like acting
Yeah,
in.
yeah. Yeah, and did you notice all those, like, watching it on the big screen like that? You picked up stuff that you just never picked up when it was, uh, you watch it normally on your TV,
Yeah.
and it's just like all those sounds and stuff that got picked up. They did a great job of, putting this in the theater.
Mhm. Yeah, and the other thing I want to mention about this is since this has come out and it's only going to be in theaters for a week or two, I've already seen it twice. First time I saw it was at the Coolidge Corner Theater in Boston, where we've talked about on the show before, where we've seen some movies like One Battle After Another, but it was a 70 millimeter film screening of it, and
Mm.
like where me and you saw it was awesome, and I think with other theaters, like you do get bonuses where like the seats are so much better at that theater we were at and recline and
Oh yeah,
everything.
yeah,
And even the sound I think might have been just the ever so slightest bit better, but I still think the best time we saw it was when we saw volume 1 and 2 in RPX.
mm-hmm.
Um which is Regal's IMAX version, but the
Yeah.
but the visuals with Coolidge with the 70 millimeter print were just like fucking like I don't know. It's just it's one of those things where I'm almost just like I want to see that like again even. But like if I do see it, I want to go to Coolidge because like
Yeah.
it just looks so good in 70 millimeter. Like I know he's
Well, not.
always like obsessed over it, and I've kind of been like, man, like he really like advocates the fuck and like
Hmm.
hates on 4K and all this other stuff, but like loves 35 millimeters so much, and I'm like, I'm kind
Yeah.
of starting to see it now, especially with 70, where like
Well.
it is such like you really feel like you're kind of there because like it's just like the entire screen is being taken up now.
Well,
Um,
plus the audiences kind of make it a little bit too, and because you and I, when we saw the whole bloody affair, there wasn't that many people in there. What did you say
yep.
there was, like maybe six other people, if
Hmm.
that, and nobody was getting into it. But you said when you went to Coolidge,
It was a
people were
sold
just
out
like
show
really
too.
into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, the fans were there, the fanboys.
That's what
You
I
know.
yeah, exactly. So that impacts the viewing
Mm.
experience as well. And sometimes that can
It
be
just
in good and bad ways because like we also had
yes.
people at Coolidge that where it was awesome and you're like, man, I love people are loving all these moments and like getting kind of hyped up and everything and like and this is fun. But like there was also moments where like it didn't ruin it, but like it was just kind of like after a little bit, like guys, shut
Hmm.
the fuck up. But like where people were just laughing or like
Yeah,
reacting and like reacting in weird ways they shouldn't have been reacting to certain scenes, and it was just like,
yeah,
what are you? Why are you
yeah.
laughing at right now? Like,
Well,
um,
I got a couple of questions for you. We've seen
mhm.
we've seen this together several times,
Yo,
and I've never asked you, what do you think is like, I don't know, this is kind of a bad word to say, but what was the best kill scene? And what I mean by
um,
that is that, like, who was inventive the most? Who um, portrayed? They were all assassins, so who portrayed being the assassin the best? Yeah,
hmm,
and who's the weakest, right?
I
Got to go to the
think,
yin and yang effect.
hmm, I think the most like who was the most badass I would say it was
Hmm.
probably I don't know, especially with this cut now, like maybe Lucy
Yeah,
Liu.
that's what I would say too. Yeah, yeah.
And I think it
But
really
there's the
helped.
weakest,
Um,
the weakest one. Who do you think that is? I think
probably.
Daryl Hannah's one is kind of a little lame. You know, I wish there was a little bit. It's a good fight scene,
Uh.
but like with using the snake and stuff like
Mm,
that. It's inventive, but it just wasn't that. I think they could have been something different, to make it a
hmm.
little more exciting.
Oh,
But
I
that's
love
just
all
that's
of
just
it.
my opinion. But yeah, all of them are good. All of them
Yeah.
are good. You know.
Um, because I think with her, like the thing I also wonder with her, but I don't think this is ever gonna happen. But it's kind of one of the cool things when you rewatch it and talk about it and such. And you actually missed this because we kind of just dipped out of the theater a little early. Like right,
Hmm.
like as the credits started, we
At the
left
credits. Yep.
because we were I'd already seen it for a second time, and it was just like, all right, we can get out of here now. We don't need to see the Fortnite thing at the end of this.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, they have a credits thing where they kind of like you were kind of seeing some of it, but then they actually do it again in like another part where like that
Yeah.
scene at the start of where it's usually at in the start of volume 2 where she's giving a recap kind of one and she's like
Yes.
driving and it's
Yes.
black and white. So that's not
Yes.
in this cut.
Right.
Same thing with how the first one ends, and I don't know if you realize this, but with how Bill's talking to Sophie Fatale, and basically is
Hmm.
like, does she know her daughter's still alive or whatever? They don't have that now in
Right.
this cut either.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it
That
really
one kind of
changes the viewing experience because
right.
normally it would have been that you're left on a cliffhanger and you're like, oh shit, her daughter's alive.
Yeah.
But for some people seeing this for the first time, they're not going to know that until that very
Yeah.
end part now, if you think about it. So I think
Oh
that
yeah.
really reframes. the story too with
Yeah,
those little changes. And
yeah,
personally, I
they
think
tied it
this
together.
this cut is like the definitive way to watch it. Um,
Oh yeah.
like I don't I think if I watch it nowadays, I'll want to watch it like this.
So you were jazzed about the added footage.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
really
I
like
was too.
that,
I was too. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it was
I,
kind
I,
of
I, I
it was a little
oh, go ahead.
ridiculous at the same time. But like so I don't know. That's why I wanted to see this also a second time. Like it was like where I was like I did like it, but I was like man but I almost felt like I was kind of beating myself up or like being weird in a way where I was like man, I feel like this movie has so many ridiculous parts or like so like um but like that's why what I kind of love about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Is it having those things and it kind of just being so ridiculous. But with
yeah,
that scene, with the new animated part, with they added to
yep,
Oren's part, it's kind of interesting because, like, to me, I felt like I liked it, but it's probably the new, like, most ridiculous scene in the movie, if that makes sense. Like, because it's kind of like,
yeah.
remember she had the grenades and she like drops them, and
Yes,
like somehow like they
yes.
both don't get killed. There's so much about it when I was watching it where I was
Yeah, I was
kind of
wondering that
like,
too.
I'm a little confused almost in a way, but then like part of my other brain as it was going along was like, shut the fuck up, this is awesome. And like I kept watching it and liking
Yeah,
it. But
I caught that too. I caught that too. Yeah.
do you know what I mean though? With like her doing
Yeah,
that
yeah.
and then she's like falling and like it's also like endless floors on the elevator or whatever when she's like falling like to
Right.
like falling like 50 floors to like stab him with the knife and he's somehow still alive too because he like grabbed on to something.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's a really cool, but like be prepared that like I said, it's kind of the new like most ridiculous scene in the movie of like suspending your belief, I guess, right?
Right. Right.
Um, but that's
Then
not
again,
what
I
this
mean,
movie's about, so it's kind of like it works. And it's
well, it works too. What about the when she goes to visit the old master and they're doing those jumping? You know they're using wires to get them
oh
around those.
yeah,
So throw back to the old kung fu movies, but you know that that's unrealistic. But it makes it at that moment.
same thing with the Crazy 88 fight when like the Johnny whatever guy that like wears the Kato mask, like when he does like a little
Yeah.
flutter kick and then like jumps up on the knife to like get up on the second floor that she's on or whatever, and it's just like how the fuck did
Yeah.
you just do that? But it's just
Uh,
like I said exactly like that's this movie, so it's like it's kind of ridiculous. And then also the other thing I think that throws me off about it slightly is um I think that that animated part was not in, you know how I talked about earlier how he showed this cut before.
yep.
That animated part actually was not in that cut though.
Oh.
So like I think that was like newly commissioned or like that was
Oh,
like newly finished because I did notice also with that, which I think um hurt it slightly to me, but they did a pretty good job, was like the
mm,
animation style you can tell is like it's more polished actually in that scene. It's
yeah.
like a lot more like
Yeah.
rougher where like like the silhouettes are like almost like the outlines on the outside of the characters like when they're drawn
Yeah.
were almost like very
Yeah.
thick and like kind of like I don't know, it just has a different design to it. But I noticed that was different kind of for that part as
Yeah.
well. So I think that might
Yeah.
throw some people off that are also kind of really into anime or that notice those sort of things. Is it's don't think of it that it was like some lost footage. I think this was like a new thing, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But like, what do
Yeah.
you think? Do you think that was a
Well,
new thing?
no,
Or
no.
was that not
Well, yeah, it
felt?
was. Oh no, no, it was. It was. I mean, obviously the new stuff. Just like I alluded to just a little bit ago, is that in the old kung fu movies in the 70s and stuff like that, where you
Mm,
had a lot of that jumping on a pole and right getting up to another floor, and it's kind of ridiculous and that, but
yeah.
you suspend those thoughts when you go into a movie, and so that uh, anime that they put in there was really no different. It was an anime version of what the kung fu movies used to be like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, except for it was really bloody.
Exactly. And then with
So
just how ridiculous this movie is too, like with animation, you're always gonna be able to push things more because it's
sure,
animated. So it's just it kind of
right,
makes sense that that's the new most ridiculous scene because it's like,
yeah,
well, if it was gonna be an action anime scene, like
mhm,
you already know they were gonna push everything they could do to make it more badass or make it more
yeah,
um just insane because it's now animated and because like there's just insane action scenes in this movie.
hmm hmm
So for me it worked, but like I don't think it's going to work for everyone, but from what I've
no, it
heard
won't.
like most people really liked it. And I think it's
Yeah, I like it.
because it kind of completes part of a story that was
Yeah,
like a slight loose thread from the
hmm
volume 1 if you watched it, where like in that anime scene that was originally in volume 1, her father and her mom get killed in front of her, but the guy that killed her father was named Pretty Ricky, and you never saw her kill him. So
right.
basically this new scene is her killing him.
It
um
puts closure. It puts closure on it a
it
bit, you know.
does, yeah.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
like it personally.
I did too. I did too. I thought it was a great touch
And
to
I
it,
just
you know.
always like the like action scenes in this movie. Like I think this scene also just has some of the best action movies in cinema history.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um
It was
so to
really
me
good.
that's also why like when you said that earlier about like Daryl Hannah and stuff, I'm like
Hmm
maybe I could see what you're saying, but for me personally, like she gets whatever he was trying to do was accomplished because it's like that scene where they fight
hmm
inside that trailer is so fucking
Yeah,
badass. I like that's like one of
that
my
is.
favorite fight scenes.
Yeah, yeah. That is good.
And just being so like inventive with it too, like and like really thinking out like how it would work and stuff too. Like if you were fight like
Right.
it really feels like it was thought out of like, well, what would it be like if you got in a fight inside this small trailer or whatever, because
hmm
like she's trying to open the sword at points and like she doesn't have enough room because like it's so small and
Right.
everything. And like not only is that being really smart, but it's also adding the little comedic things too.
Oh sure. Yeah.
But is also badass at the same time. So
Right.
yeah, this movie just does so much.
Yeah.
I think like the other thing I wanted to ask you about that I don't know if you ever
hmm
noticed was with Daryl Hannah also. Uh, did you ever think about how like she's supposed to kill these people on the lists and she
Yeah.
kills Vernita Green, who's Vivica Fox's character, who also was an amazing
hmm
fight scene. And but that's right at the start of the film. And then
Yeah.
she also kills Lucy Liu, who's
Yeah.
Oren. But with Bud, he does die, but she doesn't kill him, or does
Mm-mm.
she? Because what does kill him?
The snake, right?
Mm-hmm. Which is a
That's what
black
they're trying.
mamba, which is her
Yeah.
code name.
Right. Oh,
Uh,
that's right. Yeah.
that's the bride's code name is Black
Right.
Mamba. So I was like, I actually like thought about because I kind of had started this thread of this idea, but I feel like I
hmm
fully finished it. Like,
hmm
and I almost feel stupid for not coming this sooner. But I wonder if you've already thought of this or anything. I'm sure most people have, and I'm gonna sound stupid saying this, but like basically I find it interesting that even though she didn't kill Bud, the Black Mamba did, which is still her code name.
Right.
So it's like kind of like she did in a way. And that
Yeah.
was the thread
Symbolic.
I already had with it. But then the thing that was added to it even more is the fact that um she thought the bride was dead, and like she said to Bud, like the biggest regret, the R I have is regret, like over, and like she kind of had like a respect for her.
Yeah.
So I think that she put the Black Mamba in there so that like Daryl Hannah's character did that so that like
Yeah.
the bride could have kind of killed him in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe you
Like
got
almost
something
like
there. Yeah.
revenge because it's like she knew that he had buried her alive or that he at least like killed her in some really horrible way. And
Yeah.
like she
Yeah.
says to him when he's dying, like, you're a scrub piece of shit, like blah blah blah. And it's just like
Yeah.
Um, clearly she doesn't respect him, but like respected her. And I think she
Right.
put that in there to basically be like, well, you killed her, but like she's
Mm.
gonna kill you too, even though she's dead.
Yeah.
So like I
Yeah.
thought that was really clever too, where it was kind of
Yeah.
and
That was
there's
clever.
and it adds to so much like that's what I also love about his movies is like he really feels like he's thought out like the history of like
Yeah.
each character's life essentially.
Yeah.
Like I feel like
Yeah.
Tarantino could tell you like what this person did as like a kid, a teenager, and like fuck it, like
Right.
every
Right.
stage of their life pretty much. And like I start wondering things like that more when I'm rewatching it so many times now, like I have, where
Mm.
that's a question I'll have for you is like, what did you think was the thing that made Bud and Bill like stop talking or whatever, like how they seem to be kind of at odds now, like and how
I
Bill's like, you got to stop, you got to start talking to me again because like she is coming and everything, you know what I mean?
well, I think it was about Uma Thurman's. I don't think Bud liked her. You can tell by some of the dialogue. And I think to me, I get the impression that it was all about her. Like they
Really?
disagreed. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the feeling that I got. But
Because
yeah, I could be
that
wrong.
thought did cross my mind, and
Hmm.
like I feel like yeah, like there's definitely maybe some slight lines of dialogue that could hint at that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, but then there's just so much like also how he has that sword and then lies
Mm.
about how he pawned it even though he didn't.
Right.
And
For
then
two
it's
hundred and fifty dollars.
yeah. And then also it's interesting because like but then he did have the bride's sword, but he still had that other Hanzo sword too and he was going to sell that to her for $1 million. So it's like he could have actually even made more money, but like that also shows that he really cares about that.
Right.
Um but
Right.
then also doesn't want people to know that he cares about it too. So
Right.
like I feel
Right.
like there's so much thought out to like the history of these characters. That's also what I love about rewatching his movies is I'm like I start pondering that shit more like when I'm watching it. I'm like, huh, I wonder like if there's like any little morsel things I can find that like would hint at like towards why that is, you know?
Well, his movies are always well researched. I mean, look at Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I mean, he had
Mhm.
to like research that so much that you can just tell the extent of the research that he
Mhm.
does on a part, and all the rumors about little spin-off things like they're going to do like with Once Upon a Time and stuff like that, and
Yo.
Brad Pitt's character, and so he obviously goes into real depth with these things because a lot of the stuff has to be taken out and can be used as
Yeah.
side projects if you want it. So you definitely researches the hell out of his stuff.
Mhm.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's like I
Mm.
think people talked about that with like Inglorious and stuff too, like just a little small attention to detail, like how good he does with that sort of stuff. But
Yeah.
the other thing I didn't know if you've ever caught was like, obviously they all have like the snake code names.
Yes.
Um, but Bill's code name I guess is Snake Charmer, and I guess that
Hmm.
makes sense because he uses the flute.
Yes.
And isn't that like what
I.
they've used in cartoons
Yeah.
and like other
Yeah.
stuff
They
like to
do.
kind of
Yeah.
like yeah. So
Yeah.
I
I
was
never. I
like,
never noticed that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of
That's it.
connected
Yeah.
that more recently too, where I was
Mm.
like, huh.
Mm.
So like it's so thought out, um, and it's even so thought out to the point where it's like possibly even ridiculous because one of the theories I've also always had about this film is
Mm.
that in Pulp Fiction, which Uma Thurman's also in, her character talks about how she was like part of this pilot one time for this project called like Fox Force 5 or something,
Mm.
but it was basically about like these deadly women and everything. And it's basically she was talking
Yeah.
about Kill Bill, even though it was like called something different. And
Right.
my theory's always been since he has literally said he has like a movie universe and a movie universe, which Kill Bill is a part
Right.
of,
Right.
which would basically mean it's a
Yeah.
movie people in like the Pulp Fiction universe go to see. I
Well,
think
he
that
puts little he
her
puts little threads.
character plays the bride in Kill Bill
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah. Well, I think he puts little threads to a lot of it if you watch them enough. Like with the the car Uma Thurman uses to go
Oh, the Cliff car.
yeah, Cliff Boost cars. You know, it's in that, and then if you look a lot of what's the cigarette
Red
called that
Apple.
they, yeah, Red Apple.
Mm.
You know, there's a. Remember I said to you, oh my God, there's a Red Apple sign.
Well,
You
did you
know,
ever
when
notice
we
how
walked.
she
I never
also?
noticed that.
Yeah, Yeah, I've noticed
Oh,
that, but that I love that, and like I think he has most like, I think that's like probably his most frequent thing he references, besides maybe like Big Kahuna Burger, but I don't think they reference that in this. But the other thing that was a reference was like, it makes me think that it's the Mia Wallace character from Pulp Fiction, since she's an actress and everything. Is
mm-hmm.
uh the fact that she goes like that would be about Square or whatever, and they do that in Pulp. Her character does that in Pulp Fiction, like that same like Square thing. So I
Yeah,
feel like that was him doing like a little wink of like that connection essentially. But I like the
yeah,
fact that it's not like that it's kind of just like I like the fact that
mm,
I think he just makes these so that they can be theories for people and like make it beneficial for if you want to
mm,
rewatch it, but is
yeah.
never going to confirm it because he doesn't want to like make some controversial thing that's going to like piss people off. And I think that's smart. I think it's smart though.
Do you know who can confirm it?
Who?
Uma Thurman. Uma Thurman. She's sitting right
Oh
next to you in
yeah,
the bro
fuck.
cave. Bro cave. You know
Yeah,
what I
she's been
mean?
kind of quiet today though, so I don't know. I'm just
Oh,
gonna let her
yeah.
be.
Well,
Celebrities can be a
she's
little
tired.
weird.
All that fighting. She's tired. She's
No, I
tired.
get it. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah. So the other things that they added with this new cut is that crazy 88 fight scene where she fights like, I don't think it's actually 88 people, but it's like close to it.
No.
Is
No. He even says that in there that it's not 88 people,
yeah,
but
it's probably like
they
half
go by
that
that number.
actually, but still a lot of people. But
Yeah.
that's in color now because that was in black and white in volume 1. So like this is an unrated film. It's not even R. It's unrated, and like they definitely added more alternate shots and things that like
Yeah.
added more gore.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely.
because there's that scene which is in all color now, and that's like a couple minute long scene. And then there's
Mm-hmm.
this scene where like Go is like talking to that guy, and she's like, "Do you want to fuck me or whatever?" And then he's like,
Oh
"Yes." And then
yeah.
she stabs him.
Yeah.
Like you see his guts like all pour out on the ground now and
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
That wasn't in there before.
Yeah.
Um, during the animated part, like when she's on top of like the boss Matsumoto, the guy that's like a pedophile or whatever, and she stabs him, they do a
Yeah.
shot of like you seeing his like entire chest like ripped open
Yeah.
now and
Being opened up.
everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there's one more. Oh, when she chops off the second arm of Sophie Fatale,
Yeah.
like when she's in the trunk of the car, she's like, "Give me your other arm."
Yeah.
And she like chops it off, and that's really gory too.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of this stuff is extremely quick though.
Yeah.
So the if you're coming
And
into this thinking you're getting a lot of new stuff, like you're really only getting the new animated section.
mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
they do
Right.
something with the credits that's kind of cool, where it's that scene from the beginning where she's narrating what happened in volume 1 at the very beginning of 2. They
Mm-hmm.
kind of have that as like a credits thing now, I think. It
Oh.
seems like it's that
Okay.
part, but it's like black and
Yeah.
white, it's her in the car, and basically they have like more credits where it's like all the people that are in the movie. But what's
Yeah.
interesting about
Yeah.
that part is it's like, so it'll say like Lucy Liu, and then it'll like cross off the name like she does in the movie.
Yeah.
But and you didn't see this, but this is what I wanted to tell you is but when it gets to Daryl Hannah, it goes question mark, and it like does a question mark on it, like doesn't cross it out.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, like interesting. It's like it's
That's a
almost like they're leaving
that's a
it open that she could be alive.
well, you know what's interesting about it too is that in the original Kung Fu
Mm.
series with David Carradine that we talked about earlier,
Mm.
the master that he learns from is blind.
Yeah.
Doesn't and so what's going to happen to Daryl Hannah? She has no eyes that work. She's going to be blind, but a kung fu master on top of that. So there's a little no, you know what I mean? There's a little throwback to that stuff too if you really start thinking
Exact, but
about
that's
it.
what I'm saying. Like, but
Yeah,
then it would
yeah,
kind of come down to like if he even does that or not. But like, it's kind of like you said, where you're like, I feel like they could have done more with Daryl Hannah, and like everyone's gonna have a different opinion, but I'm almost like, but I guess they could if they want to. Like, you know what I mean? Where it's like
Right.
they really could make it
Yeah.
that there's more to her character, that something more happens there. Because the other thread they left open in this is that when she kills Vivisha Fox's
Mm-hmm.
character Vernita, her
Yep.
daughter witnesses all of it, and she also
Right.
says to her like, "Hey, if you get older and you still feel raw about this, like, come find me," basically.
Right. Right.
And that that could be perfect for sequel material too.
Right.
So
Or a spin-off
or
with
spin-off or
Tarantino.
something. Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's a lot I think he could do. I think there actually is more potential for it to happen now more than
Mm-hmm.
ever too,
Mm-hmm.
cuz well, for one, they just released this and it did
Mm-hmm.
pretty well. It was like number 5 or 6 in the top 10 this weekend, which is pretty
Yep.
good for a re-release. Which has been happening a lot this year, like we said. And then
Mm-hmm.
two, they did a Fortnite collaboration with this, where he basically, I guess he had in one
Mm-hmm.
of the drafts of the script at one point this idea to basically do like a chapter 5 part 2, or maybe it was originally chapter 6
Yeah.
at the time, but it would have
Yeah.
been Gogo's sister coming to like hunt down the bride
Okay.
in the US. And
Oh, okay.
basically, so they did like a 10-minute short. Then you still need to watch this, but basically
Mm-hmm.
they got Quentin involved, they got Uma Thurman involved, they got Zoe Bell involved, um the stunt actress that he uses a lot in his movies, and who was the bride in this
Yep.
for the actiony scenes where they need a
That's
stunt
the
double.
Australian, right? She's
Yeah, she's
Australian.
in
Yeah.
Death
Yeah.
Proof. Yeah,
Yeah. I remember her. Yeah.
she's like an actual character in that. But yeah, so they collaborated with all of them, and they did this short to kind of fulfill that
Oh,
thing that was
cool.
in the script at one point. And it
Oh, you
is
said
like,
it's on YouTube, right?
yeah, it's on YouTube, so anyone that
Oh,
wants to watch that, you can
I'll check
always,
that out. Yeah.
something that they're probably promoting a lot with this film, so why you should go see
What
it.
sh-
You can watch it
what
on
should they
YouTube
what
if you
should they
want.
put in for a search? What should they put in for search words
Put
to
in
get it to
like
pop up?
Fortnite Kill Bill short, and it'll pop up, I'm
Okay.
sure.
All right.
If it's like,
I'll have to,
I think it's like 10 minutes 17 seconds or something like
well,
that. So,
I'll watch that too.
and if it's like
But
their channel posted it, it's definitely official.
mm,
But
so
I haven't stayed for that either time I've seen this in theaters, because I was like, I already saw it on YouTube. But
right.
and also because I personally thought, even though I kind of thought it was a little cool, I was
Mm,
like, I think
yeah.
that would hurt
Yeah.
how long this is. Like,
Yeah.
personally, as good as it is after the credits are done, or maybe even
Uh-huh.
not, depending on how bad I gotta piss or whatever, I'm just good to
Yeah.
go. I'm like, I don't want
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
stay for this
Definitely.
thing I can watch on YouTube
Definitely.
already.
Yeah.
um
Well, so we're almost out of time.
yeah,
So let's put a wrap on it. And then next time I want to be in the Bro Cave again. It
yeah,
was fun
no,
being
it'd be
down
good to
there.
have you again.
Yeah, yeah. I appreciate you asking me to come on. It was kind of fun to talk about Tarantino and some of these other movies.
Yeah, I
Really
can't wait to
appreciate it,
talk
Leon.
about the Cliff Booth movie next year.
Oh yeah, yeah. We'll have to
Hopefully,
definitely do
even
that.
though it's a Netflix one, they release that in theaters too.
Oh, cool.
But
That'll be good.
all right, Pose. I think that about wraps it up for this one. Thank you for joining us.
How can they get in touch with you if they need to?
If they need to get in touch with me or Uma, they can get to us on YouTube at retro-tainment and Grill TV Studios, Facebook at retro-tainment and Grill TV, Instagram at Two Pose and a Pod, and Borges and L, my personal page, and Grill TV Official,
Mm-hmm.
X, formerly Twitter, at retro-tainment and Grill TV, TikTok at retro-tainment and Grill TV, and you can also listen to us and find us on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Castbox, Good Pods, iHeartRadio, Overcast, and Pocket Casts. But
Yep.
thank you for joining me on this one, The Dawn.
Well, thank you, Leon.
Yes. And
Appreciate it.
Pose, we'll see you on the next one. We hope you enjoyed this one. If this is the last thing that we possibly do before Christmas, Merry Christmas. If not, we'll tell you Merry Christmas again.
There
But
we go.
we'll see you on the next one, guys. Peace.